Venture Trucks. The only truck that matters.
Welcome back to my busy little recording studio / editing office. So today we are going to be talking about the Venture 5.6 hollows. So these have a hollow axle, a hollow kingpin, and a forged base plate. These are Venture highs. The Venture lows don't come in 5.6, but in a weird way, these things remind me a lot of an 8.25 Venture low. Part of the reason for that is they're a little bit shorter. So because of the forged base plate, they go down from 53.5 millimeters down to 52, which is the same as a Thunder 148 or 149 roughly. So they're actually getting into the range of a mid-height truck. Now, I've let it be known many times in the past that I do not like Venture highs, especially Venture high raws. I've just never been able to get into them. I've tried enough times that I'm actually never going to ride them again. However, I feel very different about these trucks. I genuinely liked these trucks. One of the reasons I don't like Venture highs is because they're tall, they have a hefty pop, and they just feel clunky and awkward to me. So these, on the other hand, are light, so it lightens up the pop feel a lot. They're a little bit lower, but they're still super snappy, which is why they really remind me of a Venture low. So if you're looking for a wider Venture low, these are the next closest thing. This is coming from a guy who spent years on Venture lows back in the 90s and early 2000s. Okay, how much do these guys weigh? So I believe they were about 330 grams when they were brand new, but I rode these for a while. I rode these for a solid month, which is a long time for me if you know this channel well enough. But let's see what these are coming in at now. So right now, they're at 326. So I managed to shave a good 4 grams off these trucks while skating them. I first rode these on the 8.25 generator blank, and that board, I was having a hard time finding just the right truck. Once I found these, I really enjoyed it. I had all of my tricks pretty much on lock. It definitely felt like when I first put these on, my wheels felt too far apart. Now let's get into the wheelbase of these trucks. So I've been measuring a lot lately, and a Indy wheelbase is 17 5/16. That's what an Indy wheelbase is on a 14 1/4 wheelbase. So it goes out to 17 5/16. These were 17 5/8. So that is a 5/16 increase in wheelbase over an Indy. And Thunder is somewhere in between these two. So I mentioned that I really enjoyed these trucks, but there are 2 big drawbacks, and we'll get into those first. So number 1 is the turn. There's a lot of lean before the turn. So what I mean is, like, you feel the truck lean when you bend, but it doesn't start turning very quickly. However, once you get past that first little bit, then the turn is adequate. For the most part, it doesn't bug me. It really bugs me in the first 15 minutes of my session, and then I get used to it. And then the only time I notice it is say when I finish a line at a skate park and I'm just turning around, and I notice that I have to start tic-tacking to get a sharp angle around something. It wasn't enough that it bothered me in transition. It wasn't enough that I couldn't get used to it. It just didn't like it at first. Now, one of the things that having more lean in your truck is really good for is manuals. I really liked the manuals on these trucks. Usually I don't really like Venture highs for manuals, but because these are quite a lot lighter, they are 35 grams lighter than their raw counterparts, I found that the manual is pretty easy because when your truck's lighter, it's easier to kind of hold it in the air. It's surprising that it makes a difference, but it does, because the truck, like that 30 grams, is multiplied over the length here. And somebody figured that out for me once. Emailed me, but I don't know what that is. All I know is that small difference in truck weight actually gets multiplied over the lever of your board. So I definitely enjoyed these for manuals. And I also found that they were one of the better trucks for trying to do a flip trick out of your manuals because they have a hefty pop, so you get more feeling on your flicking foot in compared to other lighter trucks or lower trucks. So when you're manualing and you have less space to actually complete your trick, it really helps to actually have a board that has a slightly heftier feel in that exact moment. It might not help you hold the manual while you get up there, but when it finally comes time to actually snap that flip out, these trucks are actually beneficial. Okay, the next thing that I really don't like about these trucks is I don't like the grind very much. So they have a hanger that is like pretty straight up like this, and the radius is pretty small, especially compared to something like an Indy, and even Thunders have a lot more of a roundover. So what I notice is they're really catchy, especially on chunky ledges. So I think that even the metal itself is a little bit more tinny. Like the trucks have a different sound. When you put these trucks on, it has a different sound than either Thunders or Indies. And what I notice is, yes, the grind is a little bit harder, and I think the shape of them exaggerates it. So if there's big chunks, or if there's cracks in the ledges or pool coping or something like that, it sketches me out, because these trucks are way more likely to get stuck and hung up in those sorts of cracks. You really have to lean back harder on these trucks for your grinds when you're skating crunchy, crusty things. If you're skating skate parks and or smooth marble ledges, it's no problem. In fact, I actually really love the kind of tinny grind sound of Ventures. I think partly because it just makes me think of like Anthony Van Anglen back in the old Alien Workshop videos when he's riding all those Venture 5.0s, you know, tiny trucks and doing super long crooked grind reverts and stuff like that. It just reminds me of that. Okay, next, how about kingpin clearance? These trucks have great kingpin clearance. So I'm looking at my back truck here, and I've barely scratched it. I mean, basically the kingpin clearance on these trucks is like, it's more than I need because I can't dip my Smiths that far. It's not until the trucks actually start to wear down substantially that it ever starts to hit the kingpin for me. All right, let's get into one of my favorite things about these trucks. And this actually makes up for that kind of tinny hard grind, is they have one of the best pinches out of any truck I've ever tried. I'm not making this up, and I don't know what or why it is. So while I said they're a little bit harder to push through a chunky ledge, for whatever reason, I can hold on to my grinds on a rounded over chunky ledge. So first, there's the Kilchina ledge, which is like super rounded out marble. I could easily hang on to grinds on that, and I slip off on other trucks most of the time. And I'm just riding worn down Spitfire Classics here, guys. And I don't have lock-ins or anything on here. And then next, you can check it out at the Tuassem Water Reservoir. Ancient rounded over ledge. Again, I'm able to hang on to crooked grinds where I have not been able to do it on other trucks. And I've tried. I've been to these spots on other boards, tried to plow through it, couldn't do it. But I can on these. So something about these trucks, and I think it's probably the fact that they don't articulate on the turn. So what we're talking about is like how much your axle goes over like this. I don't think these trucks do that too much. I think they just kind of like sit down into the crook instead of going super far back like something like an Ace or an Indy. So for whatever reason, you're able to lock into your crooks way better. Feeble grinds also felt really good on flat bars on these. But anyways, the final verdict on these trucks for me is I actually really like them. And you guys know, like, I have a really hard time staying on anything other than Indies. But if I like had to ride for Venture all of a sudden and you told me that I could only ride these trucks, I actually wouldn't be that bummed. I think the Venture Hollows or the Titaniums are probably very similar. I think these are a good truck. And it would not hurt my skating, and I would not be super bummed. I would miss turning a little bit, and I would think twice about what tricks I do on what kind of chunky or like gappy ledges. But I would definitely not suffer in the flip trick department, not suffer in the manual department, not suffer on the not so chunky ledge department. Like I could genuinely skate these, and I think it would help my skating, not hurt it. So that says a lot about a truck. And on one final note, I've had a little trick list that I've been chipping away at trying to do tricks I haven't done before. So here's all that stuff. And a lot of it's It's not going to be clean, you guys. These are my first, so enjoy.
I'm rolling. Little toe drag, but that was it.
So yeah, not only have these trucks been agile enough for me to learn some new tricks, I've also been able to take some of those tricks to new spots and do them more than just once. So definitely, they don't hold me back. Like I'm saying, it wouldn't hurt my skating if I stayed on these. Not going to, of course, but I can assure you that I will probably be back on them again. They are especially good for when you have a board that is a little bit too flat. Definitely help for that, or if you have a board with a short wheelbase, because they're going to bring your wheels out that 1/4 inch more than Indies and, you know, like a big 1/8 more than Thunders. Anyways, hope you guys got something out of this video. That is the Venture 5.6 Hollows. Venture, the only truck that matters. The 5.6 Hollows. There, I did your marketing for you guys, even though you already used, you know, for the sick tablets. All right, this is going nowhere fast. I'm getting out of here, and hopefully you're getting on your board. Thanks for watching. Till the next video.